Okay, we're on. All right, great. That's so awkward. I'm the only camera guy. I produce, edit everything, so yeah, don't expect much. Welcome back to Psych Guy. Yes, all right. I'm trying too hard. No, anyways, if you guys are new to this channel, this is anything and everything psych related. I try to go ahead and do topics that may be related to what's going on in the news, or maybe not. Actually, these last couple videos have been kind of news related stories and such. The past two videos, particularly have been on the Amber Guyger trial, and I hate to say this, but this video is going to be also the last video related to this whole topic. Kind of sick and tired of it, to be honest with you. What a weird week it was, trial. I'm not happy with the outcome, as I know a lot of other folks who I've talked to are not. But anyways, it is what it is, and in particular what I'm not really happy about is the judge. And this video I'm going to go ahead and explain what I think are 5 things that the judge did was totally wrong, uncalled for. And one of them is definitely, I don't think no one is even talking about, that I'm going to go ahead and bring to you, good people. And yeah, so terrible trial. I wasn't happy. I thought it was just overall just theatrics and dramatics, and in the end, what a letdown. That's just my opinion. What are your opinions? Feel free to go ahead and put it in the comment section. But until then, let's go ahead and watch this remainder. This is the end of my trilogy, the Amber Guyger trilogy. I call it, I think I call the first 2 videos Amber Waves of Guilt. So yeah, this is the end of that trilogy. So enjoy, and I'll catch you toward the end of the video. Okay, so let's finish this whole Amber Guyger discussion once and for all. So yeah, terrible case, terrible verdict, terrible everything in my humble opinion. Oh, and if you haven't seen part 1 or part 2 of my Amber Waves of Guilt videos, feel free to check it out. Oh, and also, I'm not going to say anything more than what others have already said pretty much on this topic, or at least I'll try to keep it to a minimum. This isn't psych heavy, so expect a quick video. As I mentioned before, there were 5 things that I didn't like what the judge did. 4 have been pretty much said already, and these are all my opinions. Anyways, here are the 5. Number 1. First and foremost, the judge should have let this case be tried outside of Dallas. There was too much media exposure, too much tainted bias, too much strong opinions formed. The goal is to have a trial to where one can conduct it in as much as an objective manner with 100% assurance that none of the jury or outsiders know much, if anything, about this case. And to have had this trial hundreds of miles away from Dallas would have been the right, proper, and ethical thing to do. But I feel that Judge Tammy Kemp probably wanted to keep it in Dallas for the exposure, elevate her status to that of national level. This is the case that will rise her to stardom. This is her OJ case. Number 2, she was too emotional. As a psychiatrist, when doing therapy, the number 1 rule for me is to be as neutral and show no signs of emotion at all, as this could influence and affect any dynamics during the therapy session. Likewise, the judge, in the same vein, has to follow the same rules, or should at least, because the last thing you want to do is to influence the jury in some form or fashion. Number 3, the giving the Bible away and hugging the defendant, not to mention allowing Botham's brother to hug the defendant. Yeah, all that was definitely something that I never have seen at all. Though on the surface this all seems innocent and noble, it rather can be dangerous and uncalled for. This shows a lack of respect for folks who are of different religions and backgrounds. How does she not know that Amber was an atheist or a Jew, for example? And hugging the defendant? This could now set a legal precedent for all judges to hug the defendants. I mean, why not hug Jeffrey Dahmer while we're at it, right? Okay, these last 2 are what really bother me. It's because Judge Kemp seemed to be changing the rules at the last minute, when in reality, the rules are set before the trial so that all parties, defendant and plaintiff and everyone involved, know the rules. Because all the information in the trial is disclosed beforehand. And the judge in the last minute goes and tells the jury that they could consider Texas's castle doctrine in this trial, which says that your home is your castle and you have the right to defend it. This was like a curveball at the last minute. Not only that, but Guyger was not inside her home when she shot Gene. She was inside his apartment. She did claim that she thought it was her own apartment when she shot him. Why would you be allowed to break into someone's home, shoot them, and claim castle doctrine in someone's house? The last thing that I didn't like what the judge did was her, again at the last minute, without anyone else knowing, going to the jury and stating that they can consider a quote-unquote sudden passion, end quotes, defense that could reduce the sentence to 2 years. The jury rejected that, but here's a problem though. Why did the judge lower the standard deferring to the jury? Why did the judge lower the bar to 2 years after ripping Guyger earlier? Now, with a lower standard of 2 years, the jury giving 10 years doesn't look that bad. Originally, the range was 5 to life, right? But with the judge throwing this curveball at the last minute and allowing the jury to select something lower, like the 2 years, right? Now the range is 2 years to life. And picking 10 picking 10 seems like a harsh sentence to the jury because in their mind, they're thinking, oh, well, 10 years is like 5 times the minimum of what the judge said, right? 2 years. So this is a pretty harsh verdict, when in reality, it's not. So yeah, that's why I was really bothered by all this. The whole trial was a joke in my humble opinion. A joke mainly because a lot of basic standard procedures and objective measures were broken. And notice how the media never talked about or went on about the points that I made in this video. Notice how they were focused on the brother hug more than anything. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not mad or blaming the brother. I think what he did was a great thing. But I had wished the media also would have talked about the above points that I made, especially the last two, to where it was inappropriate for the judge at the last minute to change the rules. I mean, who is she? Dua Lipa new rules? I'm sorry. I don't even know the song. I just saw it on an ad on Yahoo and Music or something like that, or Spotify, and I'm like, okay, let me just throw that in there. Okay, anyways, back to the video here. Okay, otherwise, what's the point of pretrial and discovery phase in the initial proceedings? Should I keep this? Let's keep this. All right, let's move on. Okay, all parties should be aware of everything beforehand, right? What's the point of pretrial and discovery phase in the initial proceedings, right? All parties should be aware of everything beforehand. But this makes you wonder of how objective the judge really was. And for the judge to tell Botham's family to be quiet, I believe she said no outbursts after the guilty of murder verdict was read, right? And then 2 days later, she goes on prancing and hugging the convicted murderer, Amber Guyger. You know, this is all ridiculous. Yeah, what are we in, Franz Kafka's The Trial? Anyways, that's for anyone who reads out there, which is hopefully 100% my audience. All right, last point here. And the last point that I want to make before ending this video is a solution that I came up with in regards to this problem. You know how every time you hear, well, I'm pretty sure this is what the victim would have wanted if he or she were here or alive. Okay, like in Botham's case, you know how family, judge, and jury were all guessing what Botham would have wanted the sentence for Guyger to be, right? Well, this happens in all murder cases where strangers are guessing, playing the guessing game, what would the murder victim have wanted their murderer in terms of sentencing. So I think to solve that problem and eliminate any sort of guessing, why don't we as a society establish like a question? Maybe like an optional question, because I know a lot of us out there are superstitious and would rather not answer, this question. So it's optional, okay? But maybe when we register for our driver's license or apply for the census or something, maybe asking a question along the lines of, if you were murdered and the judge/jury's verdict comes back as first-degree murder, what would you like for that sentence to be? And then give several options such as 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, life, death, or something like, or at least a minimum sentence or something like that. So that this will fully respect the autonomy and choice of the victim prior to death, instead of playing the guessing game. I mean, we already respect our wishes with a will, right? Toward our end of our life with our will that we establish, right? Most of us do at least. But so why not come up with something like that? Just a thought. Okay, so yeah, this brings me to the end of my video. Sorry, this wasn't as psych heavy as the others. Really, because there's not much psych involvement in this case. Just narcissistic traits from the murderer, who, by the way, didn't appreciate MLK and in text messages said something stupid about spraying the crowd with bullets during an MLK march. Yeah, anyways, yeah, the more I think of her in the case, it just upsets me. And as for the judge, really all it was is just a simple concept of secondary gain. You have primary gain, which is unconscious, and then you have secondary gain, which is conscious. And her secondary gain motives are simple. More fame, more notoriety, more national exposure, no matter how notorious it is. Hey, attention is attention, just as this woman. But yeah, the secondary gain is to grab the fame. And in a conservative city like Dallas, where they are heavy in terms of backing up the police department and the boys in blue over the criminals, even the innocent ones, this is the way to go for the money. More promotions, more job opportunities, more advances, more book deals, more publicity. The sky's the limit. And she's got the Dallas Police Association backing her up, which shows you already the inherent bias that's already there. Alright, well thanks guys and gals for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, or comment if you want. If you wish, if not, it's totally up to you. Thanks to all those who have, by the way, have subscribed. It means the world to me, or hopefully more. And speaking of more, definitely more videos to come. In fact, my next video is going to be something I'm really excited about. Actually, should I spoil it? Nah, but it's coming out soon, okay? So, till then, I will talk to you later. Bye. Peace. Breaking news. Joshua Brown, the key witness in the murder trial of former police officer Amber Guyger, who was able to provide testimony in turn damaging her case, was gunned down this past Friday night in Dallas outside an apartment complex. Now, news broke out about this the following day on Saturday night. I myself find this very suspicious and alarming. It's very weird how the media really hasn't mentioned this or talked about much of this over the entire weekend. And to release the news on a Saturday night seemed to be strategically placed timing. Saturday night when most people are out. And then the following morning they're hungover and glued to the television watching football. Why not release the news Saturday morning? The morning after the shooting, right? Again, the timing of the news seems odd. Not only that, but Joshua didn't strike me as the type to get into a whole lot of trouble. The guy's in his late 20s and wearing a Dragon Ball t-shirt to the witness stand. It seems rather Asperger-y to me, socially immature, and the last one that I would think who would hang out with the wrong crowd. This seems rather odd too. All I can say is that George Orwell was right. I thought 1984 was a warning, not an instruction manual. Okay, I better not say much, otherwise I may be... Oh, it looks like someone's knocking on my door. Let me be...